Hello and welcome to the Prayer of the Righteous chapter highlights. We are still in the chapter, and you shall go and pray unto me. Our focus is this: faith and obedience activates God's protection and provision. We're diving into the lives of Noah and Abraham, two men who followed God in the unknown. Noah built an ark before a single raindrop of rain ever fell. Abraham left everything familiar to pursue a promise he couldn't yet see. Their obedience, even without full understanding, opened the door to divine covering and lasting blessings. Through their stories, we'll draw out 10 key takeaways. Obedience starts before the outcome. Noah built the ark without rain, converts, or control. Noah built the ark out of obedience, even though rain had never fallen on earth. Noah preached righteousness for up to 120 years, yet had no converts outside of his family. The ark had no sail or rudder, showing total dependence on God's direction. Faith doesn't need visible evidence, just God's instruction. God protects those who follow his voice, not just his blessing. Obedience can redefine generations. Abraham's journey was long, costly, and world-changing. Genesis 12, 1-4 shows us that Abraham left his homeland for an unknown destination based solely on God's promises. His journey from Ur to Canaan was over 1,000 miles. Abraham's obedience triggered a blessing that would reach all nations. One act of obedience can reshape not only your future, but the destiny of countless others. God's grace comes before the assignment. Noah found favor before he built. Genesis 6, 8-10 shows us that Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord before the ark project even began. This grace was given before he obeyed, showing God always equips before he instructs. Noah still did everything exactly as God commanded. We don't obey to be loved or saved. We obey because we are already favored. The very first step of faith often looks like worship. Abraham marked his journey with altar. In Genesis 12, Abraham built altars whenever he went to worship and call on the Lord. Every altar marked deepened surrender, not just movement. Abraham's altar represented progress and worship, not just location. True provision is found when we honor God with our first response, not our last resort. God honors radical obedience. Abraham circumcised every male in one day. Genesis 17, 23-27, Abraham circumcised himself and every male in his household. That same day, God commanded it. This involved not just personal obedience, but leading others in obedience. Later, he offered up Isaac, showing progressive obedience over time. Obedience isn't always easy, but immediate. Sacrificial action invites divine covenant and provision. Patience is part of the process. Noah waited on God's timing after the storm. We see that in Genesis 8, 1-14, Noah stayed in the ark even after the land was dry until God said go. Noah waited months inside the ark after the rain stopped before God released him. His waiting was active, sending birds, observing, and even listening. Obedience isn't just doing something. Sometimes it's waiting faithfully. Sacrifice and worship trigger provision. Noah's and Abraham's altar activated blessings. We see that in Genesis 8, Noah built an altar and sacrificed after the flood. God responded with a new covenant. Later, Abraham prepared to sacrifice Isaac. God provided a ram in his place. Both sacrifices happened at moments of total surrender. When obedience reaches the altar of surrender, God meets it with provision and promise. Fear of God is proven through action. Abraham's reverence was revealed on the mountain. Genesis 22 shows us that God said, "Now I know that you fear God," after Abraham obeyed without holding back. This is the very first time fear of God is mentioned in Scripture. The fear of the Lord here is equated with complete, trusting obedience, not terror. True reverence isn't shown in words or feelings, but in costly obedience. God protects in spite of our missteps. Genesis 12:10 shows us that Abraham lied about Sarah out of fear, yet God intervened to protect them both. Pharaoh and his household were afflicted because of Abraham's mistake, not his faithfulness. God's covenant protection doesn't vanish when we falter in fear. Even when we stumble, God's promises remain stronger than our failure. The Ark of the Covenant is a picture of Christ, one door, one way of salvation. The Ark of the Covenant had one door, symbolizing Christ as the only door to salvation. Everyone who entered the ark by faith was saved from judgment. Then the Lord shut them in, showing it was God who sealed their safety. Obedience to God's way of salvation leads to protection from the judgment to come. Well, thank you for joining me today. I pray Noah and Abraham's journey reminding you that when we obey God, even when it is hard, we walk under his protection and into his provision. Next time, we'll explore righteousness opens the door. We will learn how living in alignment with God's will positions us to receive his favor and walk in the fullness of his promises. Thank you so very much. Like, subscribe, and see you next time. God bless you.